All right. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon for everybody in Europe. Welcome to the webinar. Can you all hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up. You can hear me okay? Good. I'll believe that. Pipa, I'll leave the introduction to you.
Okay, thank you everyone that's joining us. It's been a few crazy days here in Costa Rica. We've had some strikes throughout the country, so we wanted to do the event with the farmers here in Ale, but at the end, each farmer is connecting from his or her house. So the dynamic today, we'll have around 15 minutes to talk to each farmer. Hopefully all of you had seen their videos, the videos we made previously, and kind of course, try the coffee so we can talk about the coffee, but also what's behind that coffee. And then the idea is that we'll be preparing coffee. We have our barista at Café that will be preparing the coffees that we'll be talking about. We're also here at Ally's office, so we'll be preparing those coffees here, and then each farmer is also preparing their coffee. So hopefully you'll join with us and we'll be drinking coffee while we talk a little bit about each farmer and what they do. Also very important, if you can put your username, kind of the roaster you're representing, that would make it easier for us also to be able to know who we're talking to. And the dynamic is that if we want the roasters, of course, to interact with the farmers. So when the farmer is talking, please just put the raise your hand button and we'll put you as a panelist so you can talk with the farmers. So that way it will be way more dynamic and fun. We all know that you got your boxes already. We really hope that you enjoyed it. Of course, it was this very big experiment that we were trying out, especially with the COVID pandemic, that we can't visit and we can't go to the coffee fairs, and of course our buyers can't come here. So it was kind of a way to see how we could connect through these care packages. One of the things that we are very excited about that care package and that at Café we've been working on for the past years is that if you saw Daniela's coffee and the QR that they had, you could scan all the information about that coffee. And now that's available for all of Costa Rican coffee, and we can talk about that also along the way. But we know that Varietal and also Varietal are part of the project, and so you can access their QR codes also. I think that would be from part of Café Costa Rica. We're joined with Teresita. She's
morning, everybody.
International Promotions Manager. She's been also on the other side preparing every logistics aspect of this project. And then on our side, we'll soon see our barista and the rest of our Café team. There is Johnny, our barista. And so thank you again for connecting. I know everyone's in different time zones, so it really means a lot to us to be able to do this. And it's been amazing to have Ale Coffee as a partner for this activity. So we are very excited to begin, and then I'll just let Bram say a few words before we start talking to the farmers.
Great, thank you, Pipa. We're here in the LA office in Costa Rica. And first of all, experimental 50 boxes out to the world. Also, a lot of thanks, of course, to the producers for opening up their farms and their mills for us to shoot all the material and to of course support the coffees we send in the package, and thanks to the roasters as well. All the coffees in the box were roasted by local roasters. So it truly is a Costa Rica package. We started this office here in Costa Rica about 2 years ago, just a little bit over 2 years ago. And ever since we started to incorporate producers into our program, and I think what's represented in the package you received really is a slice of of the producer we work with as ally and also a slice of Costa Rica. So as you know, each coffee in the package represented one value. And all those values, technology, innovation, traceability, sustainability, are things we in Ally have in very high regard as well. So when we source coffee, when we look for producers to work with, we hope to identify those values. We hope to look beyond just quality or just a good price, or especially good price quality relationship. We also aim to seek value and see, okay, what does this producer bring us, or what makes this producer unique? And then it's our job to take that to the world. And I think Costa Rica has been especially interesting because there's so many different values here. Costa Rican coffee for me really ticks all the boxes available. So I'm very proud and happy to present these producers here today to you through the package and also in this webinar. I'll do a quick introduction. First of all, unfortunately, Daniela Gutierrez of Montaña de Tarazú, she was not able to join us as she had to attend to a family emergency just this morning, unfortunately. So we'll hopefully she might be here in the afternoon for the second session. But Maria can also attend some questions about her value technology. That's about the QR code. Then we have Diego Robelo of Aquiares. You can see him over there, representing the value of innovation. We have Diego Guardia of Beneficio Palmichal, representing the value of traceability. Also from Palmichal in the video, you can see Christian Alvarez from Quinta El Rodeo. He has not been able to connect just yet. Let me see if he has up so far.
Yeah, he'll connect pretty soon.
Okay.
He's on his way.
Let's put Christian up as a panelist. There's Christian. Buen días, Christian. ¿Cómo lo va? So we have Christian here as well. We can ask questions to either Diego regarding the mill or to Christian regarding his farm. For Christian, we will translate the questions. And finally, we have Jorge and Alexander from Finca Roble Negro. Alexander is Jorge's cousin, and he will also help us with the translation, but is also very much involved in the farm. So without further ado, last thing I need to talk is the coffee, making the coffee. So as people said, we will be making the coffee. Johnny will be making the coffee in the background as well. You know, the original idea was to have the coffee here live on the screen with the producers. I see Diego Robelo is already making his coffee. The idea was to have drinking the coffee together live on screen. That unfortunately, as of yesterday, got thrown into the water because of the strikes. We'll enjoy the coffees together. I will be drinking it. They're all coffees I always really love. I will share it with people. If you guys want to cup the coffees while we're talking, or you want to just prepare them, feel free. They're your coffees. I hope you enjoy them. If you have feedback on the coffees, anytime, just let us know. If you have questions for the producers, you just raise your hand. We can see who raised their hands, and we'll promote you to a panelist, and we can have you talk. And then if you want to talk about the coffee, if you want to talk about the farm, if you want to talk about the value, this is your space. You have well over an hour, I believe, to talk to these three producers. We'll do them in segments to keep it organized. So we'll start off with Diego Robelo from Aquiares. Then we'll move on to Roble Negro, and finally we will talk to Diego Guardia and Christian about Palmichal. So I'm going to make the amazing Centroamericano Anaerobic Natural from Aquiares right now. I'm really looking forward to it, and we will set up the screen so Diego is in front and you guys can start thinking about your questions.
All right, hello everyone. Thank you, Ally. Thank you, Café Costa Rica y Café and fellow coffee producers for being here. This is an absolutely amazing opportunity to reconnect or to stay connected. As we were saying, these tough times, this year has been so fractured in a way. We can't see each other meet in conferences or coming to farms and etc. So it's great to connect this way. And I'm preparing the Centroamericano from Aquiares. So this is a coffee that we've been producing. We started planting this this hybrid varietal, which is yeah, first and foremost, it's a hybrid, so it's not really a varietal that can be reproduced by seed. It's a cloned plant from a cross between Rume Sudan from Ethiopia and a line of Sarchimor from Central America. And we absolutely love it in how it's brought us a lot of stability in production in Costa Rica. It's given us rust resistance, which is something that we're looking to find now in every plant that we're placing in the farm. And also it's very dynamic in its cup profile, in the way that it tastes, and the amount of profiles that we can create through processing. So yeah, we're really happy to have this Centro Americano. It's become kind of our flagship or our most planted varietal. And yeah, today we're going to be drinking the Anaerobic Natural. So looking forward to your questions. I'm going to turn this around because it's time. Do we have questions?
So if any of the attendees wants to ask a question, again, just on the chat or raising your hand, it would be very cool to have roasters on the screen with Diego. So please let us know and we can, oh, there's a question. Okay, I'll put this.
Close it.
There it is. I'll promote to panelists so can. There we go. Jeez.
Did I answer? Okay, what dose are you using on the AeroPress? All right. Well, I'm not a great barista, but you know, AeroPress is kind of like my weapon of choice, so to say. I'm doing 17 grams in and 250 out, so about 15-to-1 ratio. What dose are you using? John, he has a question. He has his hand up. So I have a question here from Dean. He says, did you end up replacing a plot of the farm with Centro Americano or add to the farm? Well, we actually, we did replace, and we've been replacing plots of the farm with this varietal for since 2013. And it basically started with the rust outbreak in the 12-13 crop, where we suffered a loss of productivity around the 40% from one year to the other. And it really woke us up to the need of establishing a varietal garden to try new alternatives. For example, hybrids that were not as well known or planted at that time. And we've been planting not only Centro Americano, but other hybrids like Esperanza for the past 6 or 7 years. And yeah, replacing basically low production or lower productivity Caturra with these new hybrids. Okay, Edita is asking, I've never tried this variety. What is the profile when it's washed? Is the intention of anaerobic to improve the cup? Okay. Ahí voy bien, ¿verdad? Haciéndolo así. O ustedes me corrigen.
Sí, perfecto.
Okay. So Edita, to your question, yeah, so the profile, if you would cup this right next to our traditional washed coffee, which would be a Caturra varietal, is first of all an increase in the acidity of the overall complexity of the cup. Our farm is not located in a very high elevation, so most of our coffees are planted between 1,100 and 1,300 meters. So what we can achieve with the hybrid is higher acidity for that same level of elevation. It's also more fruity, and it has just sweeter notes that tend to do really well when you brew it as a filter. And yeah, the intention of the anaerobic, I think that's the part where we start talking about innovation, because you know, again, Achiar is being located in an area that doesn't have like the most amazing terroir or the most famous terroir, so to say. We really need to do something different and something innovative if we want to achieve coffees that can cup 87, 88 points. So we really got into processing by experimenting, by talking to friends, by visiting farms, and also literally reading literature. And we started venturing into fermentation in the 17-18 crop. And yeah, the anaerobic natural process has been refined for a couple of years now. And yeah, it definitely improves the cup. I don't think it improves it. You know, it's subjective to whoever's drinking it, but it dramatically changes it. And it completely, yeah, transforms it into something that's more complex and that can suit, yeah, just some different palates, so to say. So it's interesting.
Yeah, thank you, Diego. I also think, especially for a variety like Centroamericano, the anaerobic natural process, for me, really upgrades it a lot. I think it specifically lends itself to this type of processing. I think, John, do you have a question? You can unmute yourself. You're on the panel list now as well. You're all free to ask your questions in the chat box, but also you're free to talk to us.
There's a question from Katarzyna. It says, how do you choose beans to be processed in anaerobic fermentation? Well, first of all, there's other processing methods that we do that are, for example, the sun-dried methods, which are the red honey process and the natural process. So I guess the first, when we're evaluating different varietals, for example, from our varietal gardens, the first thing we do is we'll process it as a wash coffee and cup it then, just to see what exactly the genetic material can offer and the terroir. And then we'll move into trying it as a red honey process and a natural. And once we have those two processing methods and the profile that we can obtain, we can select the ones that perform the best, and then move on to the anaerobic fermentation. Because yeah, we want to get a coffee that's already good, and through the anaerobic fermentation make it great, because it's a labor intensive process. It requires a lot of involvement and a lot of yeah, just meticulous measurements on the fermentation, how it's going. Every batch is not the same. Some batches are not perfect. So if we're gonna go through this whole effort, we wanna make sure that we're using the genetic material that is gonna provide the best outcome. So that's how we choose it. All right, John is asking, I believe you are currently only doing anaerobic with Centroamericano. Will you also do anaerobic process with other varietals? Yeah, we're actually doing with other varietals already. We're doing it with Esperanza, and we're also doing it with Obata. And I think that what has happened is that we, you know, in coffee, there's a very interesting thing where if you want to try out a new variety, let's say you have a friend that gives you these seeds from, I don't know, like a Tupi variety or like a geisha or something really special, and you take it to the field, you turn that, you grow it into a small seedling, you plant it on the field, and you literally have to wait 3 years to try it, right? And then you need another 2 years to make it so that it's a commercial volume to actually sell it. So there's a lot of other varietals that we're processing anaerobic, but their volumes are really small, so you can't really get them, or they're not out in the commercial world, so to say. But yeah, it's interesting that you touch on this, because for us producers, we always have to keep an eye like 6 or 7 years ahead and think like what's gonna be, you know, the trend 6 or 7 years down the road. I should be planting that now in order to be prepared for that when that time comes. And that's why, you know, we invested a lot of time in the hybrids 6 or 7 years ago, and that's why that's why you see them on the market right now. But there's other goodies coming on the pipeline.
Tell us, Diego, what's coming? What are you doing today to present to us in 6, 7 years? That's what I want to know.
Well, there's stuff coming, not in 6 or 7, but like this year or next. We did a lot of trials. We're really close to Katie, which is a research institute close to Aquiares, and we ventured into the varietal garden, which has a lot of exotic species of coffee. And yeah, we're producing mocha, natural, laurina, maragogipe, different types of típicas, whoosh whoosh, Rume Sudan, which is the father, or you know, one of the precursors of Centroamericano, which is kind of interesting to compare those two. So yeah, we'll be venturing into more exotic varietals in the next few years. Is that a good answer, John? Or you have more more questions?
Yes, I think John is one of the roasters who's roasting your coffee right now, Diego, or he has bought this lot as well. So he definitely has a lot of experience roasting it. John, what can you tell us about roasting this coffee? What are your challenges and how is it roasting?
Well, we know this we can roast it really light because it's got a really good balance of coffee. But it doesn't have a whole lot of acidity.
Sorry, John, we cannot hear you very well. Can you speak a little bit closer to the...
We noticed we can roast this coffee really light. So we like to keep it like a really short profile, like 9 minutes or so, and just give it quite a lot of gas in the start, and then go a bit slower towards the end, and just keep it very short on the development time. And then you get a really nice and bright and clean cup from it.
And your clients are enjoying it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's probably one of our favorite coffees. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. You made my day.
And I was wondering as well, are you going to do any different anaerobic processing or just a natural?
No, yeah, we already do some variables. So another method that we're doing is, you know, it's also an anaerobic, but you know, with a natural, we are fermenting the whole cherry, the red cherry in the tank, and that gives us like the most, I would say, dramatic change in the cup profile. But we also do an anaerobic honey, which is a deep pulp coffee fermented in the same tanks. We also do it's not an anaerobic per se, but we're fermenting coffee also with a yeast. So with Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the same yeast used in beer fermentation. And that really changes the profile, but not towards like a funky fruity profile, but more like a herbal sweet profile. So it's really interesting. And yeah, this year we're gonna try new stuff. We want to do something with fermentation with really hot water that we're trying, and some other things. So yeah, every year, you know, we'll bring something new.
And you test them in very small batches, and do you take them to market, or is that just for your personal use?
Everything ultimately goes to market. You know, the thing is that you know, some batches don't make the cut. Let's say they don't turn out as good, so we don't end up exporting them. But first of all, I would say that there's a research and an evaluation phase where we're doing a lot of cupping. For example, right now that we're processing coffees, these cupping sessions are really intense because we're comparing slight differences. Let's say 24 hours fermentation versus 36, or you know, the difference in the amount of Brix degrees or the temperature that the tank reached during fermentation. So very slight differences that we need to find something in the cup in order to evaluate the process. And once we have the process nailed down and sort of say like the recipe, then we begin a more commercial production where we want to obtain a more consistent type of outcome, let's say. But yeah, we also have smaller batches that are of these like rare varietals and some different experiments that end up maybe getting exported and maybe not.
So I should check with Brom if I want to get my hands on something.
All right, man, let's talk and I'll send you some weird stuff. I don't promise everything will be good, but maybe you help me evaluate.
Yeah, so different markets always ask for different flavors. So there's always the right market for it, I guess.
There we go. That's it.
Thank you, Diego and John. We just had the coffee really nice. I've drank this coffee many times. It's very consistent. If anybody else has some feedback on this coffee for Diego, good or bad, you know, we need to be critical of ourselves as well. You know, please share. If this is totally not your type of coffee, that's fine. If you love this type of coffee, you know, let us know. You can put it in the chat. You can let us know. Spread the love, and then we'll start moving on to Roble Negro. I'm going to prepare that coffee for us here now as well, and we'll leave in last minute to Diego for some feedback on the coffee.
Diego, I have a question for you.
Tell me.
This coffee that we send to all these roasters, what is the best for you? What's the best method to brew this coffee, to prepare this coffee for you? How do you like to prepare this coffee?
Yeah, it's interesting because I thought it was you know, the way I like is through the AeroPress, which I just did, which I think that brings out a really intense fruitiness of the coffee. But yeah, I had it also in a cafe with a friend the other day, you know, as an espresso based drinks, and it was also great as a cappuccino. So I don't know, it's you know, at home I'll brew it in the AeroPress, but yeah, the experts will tell me. I don't know what people have thought about it. There's another comment from Rob. It says, just brewed some of the anaerobic natural here in Copenhagen. Cheers. Really interesting cup. Brewed a mocha master, but we'll have a go on espresso tomorrow. Prologue Coffee in Copenhagen. Cheers to everyone in Copenhagen. That's amazing, man.
Yeah, and we would love to hear what method everyone used to prepare the coffee and which one everybody preferred. I think that's a good feedback from us too, for us.
I think there was one about carbonic maceration. If I'm not mistaken.
John is asking one more general question. What is the difference between carbonic maceration and anaerobic? Okay, so my understanding, I've never done carbonic maceration, but in order to do it, you need to infuse the fermentation tank with CO2 before starting the fermentation. So, you know, anaerobic per se is just an environment that is devoid of any oxygen, and that we can obtain that oxygen-free environment with just the natural, I would say, like the digestion of all the microorganisms in the fermentation process. They'll start releasing CO2 to a point where the oxygen leaves the tank and there's no more inside. But for carbonic maceration, you speed up the process by injecting CO2 to the tank and releasing all the oxygen immediately from the beginning. That's my understanding. I've never done it, but maybe I should this year.
Thank you, Diego. We're now moving on to the next segment with Jorge, Daniela, and Alex from Roble Negro. Thank you for all the questions.
Thank you, everyone.
Here still. Diego, please stick around with us. Don't leave yet. and we'll work on the screen to get Daniela, Alex, and Jorge on. I met them, all three of them actually. It's Jorge is Daniela and Alex, their uncle. I met them, I think I was only 2 or 3 weeks in Costa Rica, and I met them in a coffee shop, and they told me about their farm, which is only 45 minutes, 1 hour to road here from the office. And it's a beautiful little nest, perched on the side, looking away from San Jose. So San Jose is in the Central Valley of Costa Rica, and we have all these mountains around. They're just here on the other side. So it's only 1 hour out of the city, but you feel in a completely different world. I was very inspired by their approach from day one to sustainability and the way they want to produce coffee in harmony. And in the last 2 years, we've been able to grow a lot with them and help them, or in collaboration, be able to set up the micro mill. I think this year, hopefully, we will get the registration.
Oh.
That's why I'm not a barista anymore.
Had a bit of an accident.
I was thinking about putting on an apron, and I was like, nah, why? Why would I do that?
Well, Alex, if you want to start talking about Anaerobic while we clean up.
Okay, don't worry. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone is safe and healthy in their cities. We are Anaerobic. I'm Alex. This is my uncle, Jorge. My sister is in her house, but she's listening everything that we talked about. Now, my uncle is going to explain and say a lot of things about the farm. So he's going to talk about that in Spanish, and I'm going to translate it.
Okay. Buenas tardes, allá en Europa. La finca de Roble Negro está ubicada en la zona de Federal de Aceguén, a una altura aproximada de unos 1.800 a 1.900 metros de altura sobre el nivel del mar. Somos una finca con un manejo ecológico sostenible de la producción y el ambiente en el que nos desarrollamos.
Okay. The farm is in Federal Alto Acerrí. Is 1,800 meters above sea level. We produce our coffee as a sustainable way with all implementations of the ecology near to the farm, because we are in the middle of the forest. It's important that we also take everything about the forest that going to protect our coffee and give it a taste unique for us.
Okay. Nosotros básicamente nos enfocamos en 3 aspectos importantes. Uno es la producción de un café de calidad, primero que nada. Lo segundo es que ese café sea sostenible con toda la parte ecológica que conforma la finca. Y 3, la parte social, que es muy importante también para nosotros, en aspectos de la retribución a empleados, a la gente que nos colabora con las historias de café.
Okay. Our 3 goals producing our coffee, first of all, is the quality, then sustainability, and then the social compromise, the social, the helping people, helping our workers, bringing good pay for the work that they done for us, also for taking care of the farm, taking care of the animals in the farm, taking care of the forest near to the farm, Also, our social commitment is to the people in Federal Alto Cerri, because we also help the school, one teacher school, also help to improve roads, also help to give social a better quality for our workers. So this is our three goals in our production of the coffee.
Como les dije, ese primer pilar se refiere al café. Nosotros hemos probado durante muchos años, aunque en esto estoy desde que tengo 6 años. Para el lugar donde estamos, la altura y todo, el café que se nos da muy bien es el catuarí, sea rojo o amarillo, y también lo que somos los geishas. Entonces, por ese lado, son las variedades escogidas para producir calidad.
He's been working in producing coffee since he's 6 years old. So he's always involved in the production and the quality of the coffee. After all these years of his research, he understands that the better type of coffee that fits with the sea level of the farm, and also the quality and the conditions of the farm is café rojo y amarillo, red café, yellow café.
En la parte del segundo pilar, que es la parte...
Es que vamos a dejar que la gente también hagan sus preguntas.
Okay,
Thank you. Rob, I saw you put in the chat that you're roasting the honey in the washed lots. Let me put you up on the screen here so you can ask some questions or also talk about the roasting process. I'll promote you to a panelist. We are still alive here, luckily. A little accident with the coffee, but all good.
Oh, am I here? I think I'm here.
Yeah,
Hi, Rob.
No.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, from Copenhagen.
Hi. We are now in Santa Ana, Costa Rica, but the farm is like 45 minutes from here. Hi.
Cool. Yeah, so we're roasting. We obviously source through Ally, the washed and the honey lots. So it's kind of one of our bulk coffees we're using for kind of higher volume wholesale customers. We're using the honey process as an espresso roast mainly, and then the washed coffee for filter. Yeah, so we're going for a little bit more development when we roast the honey, typically targeted for milk-based drinks, I guess. Of course, yeah. Really delicious is black coffee, and then the washed as a filter, just to sort of bring out some of the more fruit notes. But we did a production cupping a couple hours ago here this morning, and the honey was just tasting amazing.
Really? Great. Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's great news. I'm going to translate to my uncle.
Yeah.
He understands something, but he said que utilizaron el honey para el proceso, que hoy lo probaron y está amazing, o sea, excelente, que el lavado es uno de los más exitosos que les han gustado. No sé qué quieres decirles.
Ok. Bueno, ahí, primero que nada, muchas gracias y que dicha que les gustó el café, ¿verdad?
Okay. First of all, thank you, and he is very happy that you enjoy our coffee, you enjoy the stuff that we love to produce. So he is very, very happy. He's like he's smiling.
Okay, and
thank you for producing such delicious coffee.
Okay, café very, very glad hear about that.
Decirle que este honey los azúcares que le medimos al café superan los 25 grados de Brix. Entonces, es una medida que hacemos para ver que el café pueda servirnos para un honey.
Okay. Our honey, he said that in this case, the honey that he made, the Brix scale is about 25. So it's very sugary. I don't know say that. Yeah. Okay. And very happy. We are very happy that you have our coffee also tasted and give us that feedback. So we are very glad to hear that you love our coffee and also that the people in or for example you in Copenhagen taste our coffee who say, okay, Costa Rica is nice. They are producing, they are still working, everything is moving okay in Costa Rica. So for us is very good news, and we hope that you enjoy our coffee and also the natural the watch you have to taste as well.
Yeah, we just like to say that we've really enjoyed working with Costa Rican coffees the last couple of years. We've found that the transparency has been really easy to follow, and actually watching the videos that were uploaded on YouTube as part of this presentation kind of reinforces a lot of that. Yeah, so it's an origin we think has a huge amount of diversity and flavor. We were just drinking the anaerobic natural. It's tasting really nice. But yeah, so it's an origin we like to focus on and continue to work with in the future. So we're actually already speaking to Philip from Ally and Chris about the next planning for the next season. So.
Okay, thank you. We also hope to work with you a lot of years. Also that you enjoy our coffee and also your customers. And if you want something to tell us or your customer has some questions, you can send to us and we are going to answer if we are here in the morning or in the evening. Dicen que están que les gustó mucho el café, que les gustó trabajar, que van a seguir trabajando, que van a estar planeándolo con Philip, que habla por los siguientes años. Y que de parte nuestra, que muchas gracias, que también esperamos ir trabajando. Claro. Y podemos, also, you are invited to our farm. We have a forest and also and waterfalls. So if you want to visit us, you're more than welcome.
Sounds beautiful. We'd love to come.
Okay.
Thank you.
Also we would love to go to Copenhagen and see the coffee shop and everything there.
Thank you, Rob. We have another question in the chat box from Katarina. Who is it from?
Katarina.
Sorry for mispronouncing your name. About COVID and the pickers. Don Jorge, ¿usted cómo ve la cosecha y los recolectores a la tema del COVID? Para recolectar y todo eso, ¿le va a faltar gente o cuál protocolo puede aplicar para que sea más seguro?
Sí. Bueno, tenemos en realidad un plan A, un plan B y un plan C, ¿verdad? Ya todo está pensado. Lo ideal sería poder traer los mismos recolectores que han venido siempre de Nicaragua bajo todos los estándares y siempre y cuando el Ministerio de Salud de Costa Rica lo permita. Ese es el plan A. Plan B es utilizar mano de obra costarricense. Normalmente van a ser personas que yo conozco, que son pensionados, que ya han cogido café en la finca y que muchos me han dicho que encantadísimos, que serían para allá quedarse un mes o el tiempo que se requiera para ir a recolectar café. Entonces, por ese lado tengo también otra opción que sería con mano de obra de acá. Y también hay personas de allá como plan C de la zona que también están muy dispuestos a coger café También por un motivo de que, como digo yo, normalmente retribuyo hasta un 50% más de lo que se paga normalmente y las condiciones de la finca, de instalaciones y todo son muy adecuadas para la gente. Entonces, creo que no voy a tener mayor dificultad.
Alex, nada más, ya estamos en los casi 15 minutos, entonces contestar esta pregunta e irse cerrando.
Okay. For the COVID question, we have three plans based on A, B, and C. All of them with all the regulations that the state is going to give us, also to our own safety. The A is the same workers from Nicaragua. B is with Costa Ricans and pensioners, friends of our friends, also us picking our coffee. And C with the people of Federal in Azeri. Y hay una última pregunta. Buenos días, agradezco su invitación. Me parece.
Creo que eso es todo, Christian.
Okay.
So we'll pass to the next farmer and mill. We can talk more about the COVID pandemic and what we're trying to do as a country at the end of the session. And also, Don Alex is going to be, Alex and Jorge is going to be here, and the other farmers, so we can do kind of like closing general questions for them. So we'll go through Varietal mill. Don Christian just said in the chat, the farmer, that he had to leave earlier. So we'll be talking with Diego Guardia. And then again, if we have more farm related questions, we can later communicate with them. So thank you, Alex, and thank you, Jorge.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Diego, for joining us as well. Pipa is going to make the next coffee from Christian. Yes, so Diego is the representative of Pomichal Mill. Diego Guardia is also the representative of Seca, our exporter here in Costa Rica. We've had an incredible 2 years of working together, and they have facilitated our entire operations here through the export of our coffee. So thank you for that as well. But today we're focusing on the Pomichal mill, specifically Christian Alvarez, his farm. But Pomichal works with many farmers here in the country. As Pipa said, unfortunately Christian had to pull out for some work-related issues. But Diego can answer any questions about Christian's farm, but also specifically about the Pomichal mill. We also want to focus a little bit on what it means to be a mill in Costa Rica, because it's very particular compared to some other countries with the laws and regulations from Café. I met Diego through Seca. I met Pomichal there as well. What I think is very special about the Pomichal, I think it's one of the largest mills in the country, maybe the 5th largest, if I'm not mistaken. And they produce a lot of coffee, but I can still, as a buyer, buy coffee from specific producers and even from specific parts of a farm, despite them processing so much coffee. And I think that is something truly unique, that within such a large operation, we can maintain that traceability and get that engagement with specific producers within communities. So Diego, if you want to talk a little bit about...
Yes, thank you, Bram. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Bram, for what you say. It's also been great working with you for the past few years. It's a shame Christian could not stay to join us, but at the same time, it's also a shame there's a little bit of a language barrier. So I would have had to translate either way. And I've been working with Christian for 5 years already, buying his cherries to do different special processes at the at the micro mill side of Palmichal. As you said, it's a big mill, but it also has a small section to do micro lots and give the attention that farmers like Christian deserve, for their extra efforts. So yeah, it's a shame he's not here right now, but I'm happy to know his operation well, and I can answer questions regarding his farm and also regarding the process we do to his coffee at the Palmichal mill, and also touching base with the what it means to be a mill in Costa Rica. It's important when we talk about Costa Rica to understand a little bit of the coffee law, which has many aspects that have been very beneficial as a country in terms of quality, which basically, compared to other countries or most countries, many times the road infrastructure is, everything's far from everything, and producers need to mill their cherries at their farms and then take wet parchment to a bigger mill to finish up with drying. Here in Costa Rica is different. You're either a farmer with your own mill, or you're a farmer that delivers to another mill. But to be a mill, you need to go through a legal process, not only with the Coffee Institute and all the permits and have everything by law with the Institute, but also with the Ministry of Health, which is very good because it means that we take good care of our water countrywide. Not anyone can just start pulping and throwing the dirty water into the river. So it's very good. And then the other thing is that whoever is milling, if they're not a good milling and they're spoiling coffee, they're not going to be around, really. So the type of millers we have countrywide, they have knowledge in how to mill our coffees properly, right? So in Palmichal as a mill, it doesn't have any farms. We buy cherries from 2,000 producers, mostly small producers. Some of them are a little bigger. And in the mill, we have two sections. We have the section where we have the more mainstream coffee, would be our commercial Costa Rican grades, which, to my opinion, are still obviously very good coffees. But then, we have the step up, which is the micro mill, where we only process about 1,000 bags a year from approximately 30 different producers every year. Christian Alvarez is one of these producers, and he, when I started with working with Seca and Palmichal, my first project was to open this micro mill 6 years ago. My background in coffee is also farming and milling. With my family, we have a farm and a mill operation that has been in the family for many years. So I started with Seca as a consultant to build a micro mill where we could assist growers like Christian, who already have great quality because of the great location of their farms, but also they are committed to do what it takes to have even better quality, because it's not only having a beautiful farm with great location, it's about the proper assistance to that farm, and it's also about the way you harvest your cherries, which is not easy. We pay per basket of cherries to pickers. So if you want only ripe cherries, you need to pay more. So from the beginning, it's more complex dealing with the people, because picking is the single most expensive activity we have. And if you're having to be more, as a farmer, to be more strict there, you need to have proper pickers and proper techniques. And from the beginning, it's not the easy thing to do. Of course, if you're able to do it and you're successful like Christian is, he'll have the benefits. So the other cool thing about the coffee law is the transparency it has through the process. You know, each player in the coffee supply chain in Costa Rica, you know, we say farmers, millers, and exporters. Each player is already by the law, we are already told how much we can each make. You know, so as a miller, 9% of the cost of the process is what the mill is entitled to have. And in order to calculate that 9%, you know, you can also deduct some cost, but only some, you know. So it's a very interesting, it's a very complex law. It's not easy to explain in a short amount of time. But at the end, the main thing is that we can guarantee traceability. And as millers, we are worried about milling that coffee the absolute best way we can, so that we can have a more complex coffee that we can sell at a better premium, to then, you know, have a little more profit ourselves and a lot more profit to the producer. So you know, saying that we've been working together in this project and growing for the past 5 years, I already take it as a small victory, because it, you know, you don't do the same thing for 5 years if you're not doing well or a little better every year. So
Yeah,
I wish
you.
Christian was here to say
yeah,
yes.
a little bit too quick to go, but thank you. I think especially the law in Costa Rica is very interesting. I have not seen anything similar in other countries so far. For me as a buyer, it's very valuable to know that whatever happens, I can be assured that the money we pay for the coffee is very equally distributed along the chain. And the producers, whether it's buying directly from an exporter or buying, you know, through someone who's purchased cherries, the income percentage is going to be the same. And it is very valuable to know that I don't have to worry about whether or not, you know, second punch shall pay fairly for the coffee. I'm assured that happens that way by this law, and so can the roasters be assured of that as well. I'm curious if anybody has any questions in this regard. I know it's a little bit of a different topic, but also any questions, but also any feedback on the coffee or feedback on this law is very welcome. We're going to drink the coffee. Pipa just made it. I'm very curious to see how she did.
I'm not a barista.
A good thing to take into consideration here, where you compare a producer like Christian versus Diego Roelo from Aquiares and our friends from Role Negro, is that they're farmers with a mill. Not every farmer can have their own mill for various reasons, because maybe they don't want to, or maybe it's not a good business for them. Maybe the farm has the perfect location to farm, but not for a mill. And you know, as a farmer, you're already a business owner of one type of business. A lot of people that start a mill, they do it under the wrong initial idea, saying like, oh, it's already coffee, you know, and the big surprise is, like, once you start milling, you're really opening a complete new business, that it doesn't really matter how much you know about soil and coffee as a farmer. It's completely a new world to learn as a miller. So it has a cost to gain that knowledge through time. You know, and if you spoil some of your coffee while learning, it's very expensive mistakes. So to be economically successful as a farmer in Costa Rica, you don't need to have a mill. If you can have the proper alliance with the mill, like the situation we have with Christian. So I think that's important for every farmer to find you know, the perfect role for them to work.
Yeah, we have a question from Dean. For the mill, it will make 9%, if I understand. Do you mind speaking how this was determined? It's a very interesting idea to have a fixed value for specific actors. It sounds like great coordination at a national level.
Correct.
Yeah, Diego, you can respond. If not,
The coffee law is very old. Please, for friends of the institute, feel free to correct me. But I think the coffee law in Costa Rica was inspired in a Cuban rice law from 1960s, which, you know, it has good things and it has bad things. So, you know, we got to be self-critical. It's a very old law that has been changing through time. And the good thing is that it guarantees that the money goes to the producer. To do so, it's not easy. Like you say, it's a very interesting concept of how to determine it. So it is complex. You know, as a mill, we are allowed to deduct costs. For instance, depreciation is not a cost we can deduct only if it's depreciation for water treatment, which is kind of interesting. And as a mill, you know, it's like, okay, I got that 9%, but it's not the whole 9%. If I buy an electronic machine to sort coffee, it cannot be deducted there. So, you know, obviously as a miller, there are things that I would want to push through a way, but at the end of the day, we make it work. And, you know, when you look at all the numbers, because yields are also part of the equation, an important part, because what we buy from the producer is cherry, which is volume, really. And we pay them based on volume. Then we're obviously selling and exporting weight, and we're exporting first grade. So not necessarily every producer has the same, you know, the same yields. So it's a very important factor. At the end, when you look at the 9% that the miller is allowed to take, and 1.5% that the exporter is allowed to take, it'll depend on yields and other minor factors each year. But if you look at the historic levels, like it's always between, if I don't remember like incorrectly, like 78.5 to 82% of the total amount of money goes back to the producer. So, you know, it's complex, but every year there's changes. You know, there's the Coffee Institute is a big institute that has many professionals, not only in promotion, but it also has many professionals in, you know, engineers in farms, coppers, people in technology looking at different types of everything you can imagine, fertilizers, diseases. It is a very complex machine, you know, and you know, there's a proper process to do stuff, really. I don't know if that answers the question or if I just got you all confused.
I think it's a good explanation. Maybe you people or Terry, I don't know, wants to take it. I think it's also interesting to know for me, and what Dean's question also was, is why 9% for mills and why 78 or 82 for producers, and why 3% for exporters? Who determines this, and when is it revised? Where does it come from? Pipa, do you want to take it?
I think Diego explained it like pretty well, that it's a very old law. It's from the 1960s. So as Diego said, of course, that percentage might have made more sense in the context of washed coffee in the 1960s in Costa Rica, where coffee had a very big role. But now we're, as Diego mentioned, we're seeing a lot of new processes, and we're seeing a lot of micro mills, and it's not the same cost to mill a washed coffee than to mill an anaerobic or a honey. So as we are advancing, and as our consumers are asking for more innovation, then we also kind of have to catch up with our legislation, which is a challenge because legislation doesn't move as fast as the coffee sector is moving. So to do a change in the law, it's many years.
Hello.
Yeah, I think we lost the connection.
Yes.
Mario Paz, do you hear us?
Sorry?
Yeah.
We lost
Yeah,
you. We
we
lost you
kinda
for like
lost you.
30
Yeah.
seconds.
Our internet connection. I'll take the video off. Do you hear me now? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but as I was saying, that the good thing of the coffee law is that it allows us to have a lot of data. We have all the registries of the farmers delivering coffee to the mill selling to the exporter, and so on. And having that data and having such precise and specific data allows us to make better decisions and eventually have the data to respond to changes in our consumer trends that can later push changes in legislature if needed. So even though it's a very old law, it creates a structure that is very important and makes Costa Rican coffee unique.
Yeah, and Maria Paz, it's also important to mention that this law is unique, that Costa Rica is the only country that has a law that regulates the coffee activity. So the question says that how this was determined, and it was by a law, and it's a unique law in the world. So that's what one of the things that makes Costa Rican coffee very unique.
Okay, so I think we can, I mean, if we have more general questions, I'll put as panelists De Vegas and also Diego Ruelo. So if anyone wants to ask something more general about Costa Rican coffee, we can use these last minutes to talk about that.
Mm-hmm. I think also a very interesting project Café is working on is the
We
can
sound,
hear
right?
you.
Yeah.
From, okay.
With Daniela, she has been using this system a lot. So in theory, well, you can tell it's your project.
No, so we'll just, I mean, time-wise, I don't want to take a lot of time, but just mention that everything Diego talked about right now, I'll take the video, and how we have that information about the traceability and the transparency of our coffee. We're all making it available to our buyers and our consumers through a web platform that we created, we've been creating for the past few years, together with farmers and mills and exporters. So all this information about who the farmer is and how that FOB dollar is distributed, and information about the farms and the mill and the exporters can be made available in a very simple way. We use the QR code, but basically it's just a web link where you can access that information. And we're really happy to be working with Ally, and we hope that all the exports that Ally is making of Costa Rican coffee for this next harvest will have that information to complement the information that as roasters you are already finding and asking to your farmers and mills. So I don't know if maybe any of our mills or farmers wants to say a last comment. If we have any other questions or comments, we can use these last minutes also to talk about that. If not, then we'll be finalizing soon.
I want to thank all the people that joined us and attended this Zoom conference throughout the world, all the roasters that you know, and people in the industry, baristas and everybody who is joining us on the different roles, importing. You know, it's a complex supply chain, but just want to thank everyone because you allow us to do what we do, you know, and we really enjoy it. So we really hope we can continue to move forward.
Yeah, likewise, on behalf of Aquiares, want to thank everyone that joined, and also highlight the importance of being connected and staying connected in these tough times for everyone. You know, it's one of the let's say it's a world crisis, but you know, it's one that we all share and that we're all trying to live with in different fronts. And it's important to stay connected and to support each other. This harvest is going to be very different for us. And yeah, we just try to bring the best of the coffees back to you, and probably some more stories and yeah, just different things that we did in order to surpass this crisis. So yeah, cheers to everyone and stay healthy.
Well, it's extending also the greeting for all the people that have been talking, and hope that everyone is okay, safe, health, and hope also to see you soon in Costa Rica and visiting us and was tasting our coffee. Goodbye, and thank you for this amazing opportunity and this very good conference. Bye.
Thank
Well,
you.
I would like to add that from Café, we really want to thank everyone who joined this project. This was the first of many, as we hope. This was the experiment, as we like to call it. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask us. You have our emails. And unfortunately, as Maria Paz said, the people from La Montaña de Tarrazú couldn't be with us. But if you have any questions for them, you can, well, you have their contact and you have our contact too, so you can ask us and we would love to answer any question. And also, we would like you to give us some feedback on this whole activity, because as our first one, it's very important for us to know what do you think. We try to be connected with you, and thank Ally for work with us and all the producers. We are very happy, and as we mentioned in some of our emails, this is the first of many activities, and we hope that this helps create a long-time relationship with Café de Costa Rica. Some of you already had Café de Costa Rica before, but some of you that hadn't, and this was our first try of Costa Rican coffee. We hope that you like it, and please give us all your feedback. That is very important for us.
Thank you, Tere, and thank you everybody for joining. Indeed, experiment. I think it's a new way of connecting. Hopefully, we can have trade shows again soon. You can visit Costa Rica soon. Everybody's very welcome.
We lost you. We can hear you. Bram.
Pura vida.
It's very important, especially in these times, to not forget about each other and to remember, who's roasting our coffees and who's producing our coffees, and stick together throughout all of this.
Thank you. We'll talk soon, hopefully, and thank you for being part of this amazing project. We've recorded the activity, so if anyone would also want it, we can send later a link.
Cut out the part in which I burned myself with the coffee.
Yeah, we can cut out Bram's burn.
Mistake.
And have a very nice afternoon or night wherever you are, and we'll be in touch.
Stay safe, please.
Ciao, pura vida.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Luego.
Este,